all day. I mean, Terry, we're talking a lot in a philosophical sense about principles. There's reports this week that the Western hemisphere, all of Western civilization, the Western world, if you like, has a whole bunch of a leadership vacuum. There's really just not those standout leaders. And, well, Joe Biden in the United States is exactly the sort of disappointment I feared he was going to be. He is the weakest link.
Well, indeed he is. And actually, I'm tipping at the moment that he'll end up in the cellar of American presidents with another president with the initials JB, a fellow called James Buchanan, who was the bloke before Abraham Lincoln, whose indecision, whose incompetence, whose absolute inability to actually do the job actually was probably a very major factor in causing the American Civil War. And I think Joe Biden at the moment is potentially going to be the person who will be remembered more than anything for starting America's great decline. Whatever you say about why America withdrew from Afghanistan, why the United States decided to do it, and of course the decision initially was taken last year under the Trump presidency, the way it was done, the way that America effectively scuttled out of there, abandoned Afghanistan to its fate, assumed that Afghanistan could stand on its own 2 feet when clearly that both the government and the military could not, just beggars belief. And now he's basically saying, I did a great job, thank you very much. Let's just get on and nothing to see here, let's move on. It's just not right. But in the UK, I think Boris Johnson is struggling a bit to assert himself as a leader as opposed to a politician. And certainly in Europe, I don't see anybody of a standout nature now that Angela Merkel is about to retire. And certainly other parts of the Western world as well. I mean, look at Justin Trudeau in Canada at the moment, who's struggling to be re-elected when he was stupid enough to call an election that nobody needed. And Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand, I mean, she's all talk and she's all image, but when it comes to delivering, she doesn't deliver much at all.
Yeah, I think this article in the Courier Mail tomorrow, Keith DeLacy's line about Kevin Rudd, Daisy, summed it up beautifully. He said Kevin was all about announcing things, not fixing things. I think that kind of sums up where we've got to in the Western Hemisphere. Everyone kind of went a bit left and went a bit woke and thought, oh, let's do trendy things. So, you know, Justin does his dress-ups and Jacinda, well, I don't know what she does. The dreadful problems over there today with a couple of people dead. Somebody they knew was apparently a suspect, could be terrorist, and yet they weren't keeping an eye on him. The principled leadership that's missing is a genuine problem right now because, guess what? The non-Western world has got their act together.
Yes, I think we're living in a very, very frightening time. And, you know, we've been saying for the last couple of years that because of the threat of China, that it's a very scary time, that well before COVID, you know, whether it's they're spying on us or they're cyber warfare or they're, you know, running around blustering up to Taiwan. We've been saying that for a while, but with the debacle that is the withdrawal from Afghanistan, that's emboldened every single anti-Western extremist of every stripe, whether it's China, Russia, Jihadists, Islamists, it's totally emboldened them to come after the West because, you know, America World Police, the global super cop, has proved itself completely incompetent and completely uncaring with this withdrawal of Afghanistan. I mean, for goodness sake, to leave $83 billion worth of military equipment just sitting there for the Taliban to pick up and use. I mean, a small child would know that that is a bad idea, for goodness sake. And you know, recently it's been revealed that they left all the service dogs there. For instance, there's all these poor dogs sitting at the airport with no one to take care of them, you know, along with all the people they've left behind. They've got animal abuse on top of that because they've left these dogs to the mercy of the Taliban and you know, on top of emboldening everyone else. And for what Joe Biden has been doing in a desperate attempt to look less stupid is shifting the goalposts to make the argument simply about whether or not to withdraw from Afghanistan. Is saying, well, we had to withdraw, we had to get out, something or the other is Trump's fault, he's trying to blame Trump. No, that is a huge goalpost shift. It was not about whether or not to withdraw. They were always going to withdraw. It was how he did it, and he failed bigly, and this will be his legacy.